It's time for another Dice Tower review with Tim Jennette.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jennette, the Metal Meeple, and in this video we're taking a look at a pastry picking card game called Go Nuts for Donuts. Now this was published in 2017 by Game Rights. It is designed by Zachary Eagle and the art is done by Claire Donaldson. It is a 2 to 6 player game, takes about 25 minutes or so to play, and essentially what you're doing, you have a row of donuts out in the middle. Everybody has the same amount of cards, 1 through whatever the number of players you're playing plus 1. So if I wanted donut number 2, I'm going to hide a 2 down, face down. Everybody does this at the same time. We all reveal. If you're the only person to select that donut, you get it. Otherwise, if 2 or more players select it, it's discarded. And then you keep filling up the donut row and keep going until the stack runs out. And whoever has the most points is the winner. It's got set collection. It's got some cool special abilities going on. So let me show you how the game plays, and we'll come back and I'll tell you what I think. So the setup for Go Nuts for Donuts is pretty simple. You have a deck of cards here. These are donuts, and depending on the number of players, you're going to remove certain colors here. So on a 5-player, or if you need to remove the 5-player cards, this is the blue cards. You would find all the blue ones and remove them, etc. There's a chart in the book to help you with that. Once you say we're playing 4 players, you're going to lay out an indicator token for each player plus 1, and you're also going to give them a matching card for each indicator token plus 1. So in this case, 5 indicators. This is going to allow the player to select a donut in secret, and everybody's going to do it at the same time. So once everybody's got their cards, you're ready to begin. You're just going to flip out a card for each slot here. And then everybody's going to read the cards, decide which donut they want. Say we wanted the one in number 2. We're going to choose the 2 card and place it face down in front of us. And then simultaneously, everybody's going to make those decisions. Once all the selections have been made, you simply flip over the cards to show who picked what. And then starting with the lowest number, you're going to see if anybody picked it. If not, you move on to the second one. If somebody did pick it, which we did, then they're going to receive it since they're the only person to have bid on this donut in slot 2. Now, unfortunately, we have 2 or more players selecting the donut in slot 3, so this donut is discarded. No one receives it. Slot 4, this player would get it. And then slot 5, no one selected it, so we're done with this round. Now, there is one thing to note, though. On some of these donuts, which aren't the ones that we picked here, but let's just say this bear claw, there's going to be a star in the corner of each box, and for the most part, when you read the description of the text here, it's going to tell you that it's an action, basically. So once this card is selected, this is going to happen immediately, and you do that before moving on to the next donut selection. So for instance, if it looks something more like this, then slot 2 would happen first. We're going to choose this, and instead of just picking it up and taking it, we're going to perform the action before moving on. Take a card from another player. Say another player had this tasty maple frosted, we would take that from them and then move on. And then 3 would get discarded, and then 4 would go to this player, and so on and so forth. Once that has been done, you're going to take all your selection cards back, and you're going to fill in the empty slots. You're going to play another round, and this is going to continue until you cannot fill all the empty slots with the deck. At that point, the game's going to end, and whoever has the most points wins. So just to show you some of these cards here, for the most part, the big circle just means how many points it's worth, and then it has a description of whatever special ability or whatever it has. In this case, the French cruller goes out, and then when somebody takes it, it's an action, and they're going to discard any number of cards not selected this round, so you can kill off some old cards or kill off some of the cards that haven't been picked yet, which is kind of irritating if other players have, you know, say it was in the 2 slot and everybody wanted this stuff, you can just mow the farm, so to speak. So anyway, the coffee one for every negative card. Some of these are set collections, so for every jelly-filled donut you have, you're going to score, or you add up all the jelly-filled donuts. So if you had 3 cards, you would actually get 5 points at the end of the game. There's another one in here, Boston Cream. Let's show you that one. That one's fun. This one is kind of a gambling set collection. So you got 0, 6, 0, 15, 0, 25. So every other card, people are trying to fight you over not getting it. It's pretty funny. And then you can see some of these. This one's worth 1. If you have the most at the end, you know, you score 3. And there's a bunch of them here. There's straw cards. There's some fun ones that allow everyone to pass a donut to their left. There's some in here that actually have negative points, like this one right here. Negative points, negative 2 points, and discard a card from another player that helps maybe destroy some of their set bonuses, like that Boston Cream that I was showing you earlier. That's pretty much the game. Like I said, once you run out of the deck here, or if you can't replenish this, you just count up all your points, and whoever has the most is the winner. Now, just to show you the rule book here, it is worth mentioning that there is some descriptions on the donuts in the back pages, and the layout of all the donuts per player. You can see the different colors here. And on this page, it shows you the grid on which players, if you're playing with, which colors to take out and so forth. So just wanted to show you that. And there you have it. That is Go Nuts for Donuts, a fun little card game that I actually enjoy quite a bit. I've played it with plenty of people now. It's so fast to just bust out and start playing, especially if you don't have to build the deck. That's the only tedious part. You know, if you're playing with 3 or 4 players, you kind of have to take out the different colors for the 5th player or 4th player or whatever. Otherwise, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, it is color-coded. It's really simple to thumb through the deck and get those out of there. So for me, I really like it. Everyone's going to kind of take a look at this, I think, and compare it to Sushi Go. Obviously, since it's game right, it's got cute little pastries in this case instead of sushi, but I think that for the most part you can own both. They are totally different. There's no reason to say I need one or the other, but I kind of like this one a lot. It's less strategic, I think, just for the fact that everything's kind of random, and you might have a couple of people squabbling over the same, you know, type of cards and such, while everybody else is kind of collecting things on their own. So it's a little bit less it's a little bit more random in that sense, but overall it's a fun time. I think that everyone I've played it with has liked it. They haven't loved it or anything, but you know, other than the non-gamers maybe, but I really enjoy it. It's a fun little card game. It definitely is a 25-minute game. Actually, honestly, 6 players, we can probably knock this out in 15 minutes, maybe 20. It's super fast, especially once you know all the cards. That's probably the only hurdle. There are quite a bit of cards in the game, but other than that, it's fine. There's only one thing that I don't like about it, and that's that French cruller card. It kind of gets annoying, especially if it's like the first to come out, because it's like if one person gets it and they just burn the rest of the row, it's just kind of irritating, you know, because somebody has to fight with it. But it opens up some interesting debate, though, and there's not that many in the deck, so it's not really that big of a deal, but it has come up quite often for me to get annoyed at it. If it comes up later in the round, like say the 4th or 5th card, it's not that big of a deal because it can only burn a couple of cards, you know, that you might be going for, but overall, it's not that big of a deal. Other than that, one thing that I have played with my group that I thought was fun as a variant is you leave out the cards that no one selects or whatever, but we started playing where you just start piling on cards rather than just, instead of filling up the slots, you also fill up all the other slots too. So you start getting all these different, you might have 3 or 4 cards per slot, and then people are bidding on like groups of cards. Pretty cool. Things get a little bit crazy at that point, but we just had fun with it since we played it quite a bit. So anyway, if you're looking for a small little card game that you know, and this interests you, I definitely recommend picking it up. The price point is awesome for a type of game of this size, and it's really fun. It's kind of mindless at the same time, in a good way, you know, and it's definitely one of those filler games I will probably bust out a lot more. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me at timjennette@gmail.com or follow me on Twitter or social media at the handle below. Check out my podcast, Meeple Core. And until next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice and eating pastries.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.